Morning guys, welcome back to VALORANT. Roster drama going down everywhere in the Valorant world last night. We've got streamers getting dropped from their respective organisations, but also big rumours about where Demon1 could be going next. Some theories have emerged that if Envy go on to win the Ascension tournament and qualify for the Pro League, as right now they are arguably favoured to do, they will need a couple of replacements that are actually old enough to play. Demon1 is supposedly one of the key men on their radar. Very much into your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. The boys are out there in Toronto. Many of the teams have landed. They're getting ready to go for the upcoming week. Here's Boaster yesterday, and actually 2 days ago, and this was Boaster and the team yesterday. So yeah, actually was yesterday. So I think this is at the Toronto Park or the island or whatever across. If Toronto is a beautiful city, if you ever get the chance to go there. Now is also like the perfect time of year to go. May, around about now it's beautiful. In the winter, it's probably not the best place to be. But, this time of year, it's gorgeous in Toronto. You can take a ferry over the kind of harbour, really, over to this island. They've got all sorts of stuff going on over there. It's super green. It's super pretty. And, well, anyway, the teams are enjoying their time in Toronto before the event. And I'm sure they're going to have a great time. But, of course, the key thing at the end of the day, it's a business trip, right? They're trying to win this championship. As I say, the roster drama kind of begins here with some of the team changes that are being made on the streaming side. So Shanks confirms yesterday, released from NRG. Now this is pretty interesting. I've got a clip for you guys to share about this in a second. I don't know if did they do a tweet about it, or did they just kind of like let him tweet about it? Yeah, I think they may just have said, you know what, it's been a pleasure, Shanks, but it's time to go. I know that there was lots of talk about Shanks because of course he's a very controversial character. I think his time on EG as a kind of co-streamer, member of that crew, made a bit more sense than it did with NRG, just kind of culturally. And Shanks definitely describes in the clip that I'm going to share in a second for you guys that he wasn't really feeling it. Or there was some, maybe plenty of issues that either he can't mention or doesn't want to mention or whatever that were affecting things. I think in due course, Shanks being Shanks, he'll probably say a few things. But we'll see. Derek says, welcome back, champ. Come back to Evil Geniuses, because maybe those were the glory days over there. But speaking of something similar, the same has happened for Vitality. So Ardiis, and I love this picture of Ardiis, it's really funny. But here he is having a good time. But as Vitality described, today we say goodbye to our VCT ambassador Ardiis. Thanks for your support and co-streaming our first VCT EMEA title. But they've decided no longer, right? With Vitality currently struggling, they want to put that money elsewhere. So anyway, he's gone. As Ardiis says, released from Vitality. He does the same type of tweet that Shanks did, which is pretty funny. So maybe he's going to be back on the Chinese hype train from now onwards. And yeah, what was it? FNS in the replies saying maybe we better not talk about that. So I thought this is all rather funny, but there's other drama as well. And one of the big ones is regarding Chet and Chet's pets. Now, if we know that the M80 team, they decided, well, they didn't really even decide. They were forced into a decision to have to call it a day. And as Chet says, XM80, as they were considered Chet's pets briefly afterwards, are not staying together for Stage 3 challenges. Everyone's going to look for an opportunity. Thanks for supporting the team. Chet's now back at it again, right? There's discussions about connecting with the remaining players to maybe keep the spot alive that they have, because that could be a challenge for them. But Chet also is kind of, on some level back to square one when he's now got to figure out, okay, what other coaching opportunities could I potentially get here with, the predicament that he finds himself in. It's been tough for Chet, right? Because he comes back from his ban, goes straight to M80, and then M80 full collapse. And now he's back, where he started effectively. But, I still think that actually when he was on that team, they showed reasonable amounts of promise that definitely should be kept in mind. This is Koala Noob being released, well, not necessarily released, but being benched from the Na'Vi team. So they had a difficult stage. Of course, Angel continues to, get 1 year older every year, but still put in respectable results, and their results have not been as good as they were a couple of years ago. So they've decided that changes need to be made. Koala Noob parting ways is an interesting one, as Na'Vi say made the difficult decision to move him from the starting roster. He is now a restricted free agent and exploring other options. Thanks for the dedication. And he also, I think maybe Qualan did a bit of a tweet about it as well. We'll see what he had to say. If anything, looking for a team restricted free agent. Duelist Smokes currently learning Flex, opens it in-game lead if needed. So, as he goes on to say, there were several in-game differences and inconsistencies that we could not overcome as a team. Grateful for Na'Vi to the opportunity, or for Na'Vi to Na'Vi for the opportunity, and will ensure that it's not my last. So, I think it's very interesting what he had to say here about making an official change to the roster, saying that there were serious difficulties, and what that confirms obviously is that he's not going back, right? Like there's no world in which, based on what he said here, that they're going to be bringing him back into the team unless they weren't to make wholesale changes elsewhere, which likely they're not going to do. So Quality will be going somewhere else, and despite the fact that he's been benched, he's restricted, he can't just leave for free, he will be out of there at some point, you would imagine, or they will just get rid of his contract. Now, the other clip that I wanted to share for you guys, in addition to the Shanks one, is on Envy. These have been the key team in many respects of Tier 2 in the last few weeks. They've been cooking against pro teams in scrims. They've been winning everything in challenges for some time, even when they were called the Rankers, before Envy went on to sign them. And now they are in a great position potentially to win Ascension and therefore qualify for the league. But the reality is, with that roster, that they do not have players that are all over the age of 18. They cannot all compete in the Pro League. And that means they've got to do something with their team if they were to qualify. And that's where the big questions come in.
All I'm going to say is I'm not allowed to say why I got dropped. I'm honestly not allowed to say anything. But, like, I don't think... For me personally, I don't think I see myself on Gen.G again, ever. So, yeah, I mean, I'm basically not allowed to say anything, but let's just say I'm probably in the foreseeable future, we're going to leave Gen.G Shanks behind us, chat. I don't think we'll ever see an Gen.G Shanks again. I mean, yeah, we're dropped. No more Saudi, bro. No more Saudi. And for this, we are LFT. LFT! Oh my god. Peter, I'm not gonna see you now.
Maybe silly tables. Definitely a chance of that.
You picking up Demon1?
Oh no, I just said definitely a chance of that, maybe.
So of course, Pop in here talking about this rather candidly and suggesting that, yeah, absolutely, this is something which could potentially be on the radar, because it's something that they have had to think about. I had even a chat with Hastro, the owner of Envy, about this a little while ago, and he was like, yeah, if we were to qualify, then, we would have to do something to the team, and in an ideal world to be able to keep supporting the other guys down in challenges, but not really sure how that would potentially look. So the question then, comes to, is Demon1 the right man? I mean, could this be an amazing storyline? After a difficult couple of seasons for Demon1, of course, won the World Championship in 2023 in remarkable fashion, of course, with Evil Geniuses. Since then, not really gone to plan. The NRG drama, the Lev drama, and now he's back out, in the wild again. I mean, okay, he still streams, he still tweets a fair few things, but right now Demon1 is looking for the next step, and notably, the two players that are not old enough to play are Kane0 and Ion, and those two guys are, effectively the two best players on the team right now. So that would be the challenge if they were to win. And I mean, look at their recent results. They've won everything for some time. It's pretty funny. Like when they were called Rankers, they won literally everything in a row. They then became Envy, lost 2 of their first 3 series, but since then they've been back on the absolute heater they've been on for some time. I mean, in the Burger Boys series, here's Kane0 and here's Ion on the Omen and the Jet ISO respectively. So they would need a player to potentially fill that role for Kane if they were to qualify. Now, qualifying is a tall order, to say the very least. And also, Kane0, Ion will know that if they qualify, they're not going to be able to go to the league yet anyway. But they will, like, if Kane and Ion, if this team wins it, those guys will get spots as soon as they can, right? So, like, there is still some incentive to win. There's also some incentive, I suppose, to, you know, help your teammates, right, in many respects, because then they would qualify for the league and they could maybe go one step further. But, you know, what would they do in that case? The rumor has it that, okay, maybe Demon1 is an option, but they would potentially need somebody else because, you know, as we know, Kane is certainly not 18 yet, and it's going to be a little time until he is. Same with Ion as well. But, you know, an impressive team, a very, like, talented and exciting roster. I think there is a lot of talk about who else could beat them to Ascension, right? We know that the Ixolos Laser team from South America, they've been kind of cooking as well. And it's not like there isn't competition in the Americas as well, in North America, because there is. But still, Envy, you know, should qualify for Ascension. And then if they win Ascension, then of course, things get rather interesting indeed. So very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Just to go on a top 15, actually, top 10 list to go through. This is what Bryn came up with, his best players in the world. Got Jemkin, Aspas, Leaf, Bang, Rians, Miniboo, Trent, Kayak. Interesting, you know, to see Kayak up here because, you know, he was pretty underwhelming at the start, but recently he's turned it around. Texture, Zekken, Benji, Fishy, Crashies, Jing, Nats, and Verno. And overall, they've gone something like this. You know, I think Bryn's positioning on Kayak was probably more reasonable. I think having him up in second feels, you know, a bit too much recency bias, but I think the Jemkin being number one, you know, totally justifiable. The guy's been hard carrying heavily on that RRQ roster as of late. Aspas in third, then Leaf, then Trent, Zekken number 6, Forsaken, Raga, Rians, and Texture closing out the top 10. We'll see what happens when we actually get to Toronto. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.